quarterback coach is forced to break his silence and admit all of the quarterbacks is getting QB reps with the scout team. Guys, for this is coming out with the Cleveland Brown practice, and it's being said that Shedeur Sanders is not getting these QB scout reps, bruh. And I'm here to tell you, I believe he ain't. Now, quarterback coach Bill Musgrave has forced his hand into the matter because he just spoke to reporters moments ago, pretty much explaining that, you know what, all of the quarterbacks are getting their scout team.
Brown really don't want Shedeur or trying to develop him, trade him off. Trade Shedeur. Why do the Cleveland Browns continue to hang on to a 5th round draft pick who they think in their eyes that he's not the one? I'm just saying. Man, when I went over there on Twitter and I looked at it, and the first thing came up was ESPN Cleveland, Tony Rizzo talking about Shedeur Sanders. I said, let me see what Tony's talking about now. Tony said it's been reported to him that Shedeur is not even taking no kind of reps, and he's not even running scouting.
The Browns quarterback coach just snapped on Shedeur Sanders' scout team reps. And when I say snapped, I mean full-on meltdown mode. Bill Musgrave didn't just raise an eyebrow, he raised everybody's blood pressure in that locker room. This wasn't your average day of coaching. This was reality TV with helmets and shoulder pads. Forget teaching moments or polite corrections. Musgrave came in swinging like a man with receipts. Every word hit like a helmet-to-helmet collision. Why was Shedeur catching heat during a simple drill? That's the part that shocked everyone. This was supposed to be routine, a slow-motion warm-up, just backups pretending to be the Ravens for practice. But somehow, Cleveland managed to turn a harmless rep session into a full-blown primetime drama. Only the Browns could turn a practice drill into something that feels like a season finale cliffhanger. The energy shifted instantly. 1 minute it's quiet focus, the next it's chaos, like someone lit a match in a locker room filled with gasoline fumes. And right in the middle of that explosion was Coach Bill Musgrave, delivering truth bombs like a man who's had enough. He wasn't cracking jokes, he wasn't pulling punches, he was slicing through egos like a surgeon who ran out of anesthesia. His tone was too calm, too precise, the kind that makes grown men start questioning their careers. Players were side-eyeing each other like, yo, did he just say that? You could feel the tension in the air, every word landing heavier than a blitzing linebacker. It wasn't yelling, no, this was worse. Musgrave had that unnerving ice-cold calmness, the kind that doesn't need volume to destroy confidence. It was like watching your old math teacher catch you cheating and then quietly explain the exact formula proving you just failed yourself. And the wildest part? Shedeur didn't even flinch. He stood there taking it all in, eyes locked, almost daring Musgrave to keep going. That's when everyone realized this wasn't just about one bad rep. This was personal. It felt like Musgrave was testing him, seeing if the rookie could handle the fire before the real season heat even started. The Browns turned a normal practice into a silent storm, and by the end, nobody was laughing. Not the players, not the staff, not even the coach. Because deep down, they all knew something had shifted that day. That's the kind of wild energy Musgrave brought. That mix of robotic football IQ and icy calm that makes you wonder if he's coaching or running a psychological experiment. Somewhere between his emotionless tone and cryptic comments, he slipped up. He admitted Shedeur's getting his scout reps. But come on, everyone in Cleveland knows that line's about as believable as saying the Browns are already printing Super Bowl confetti. If Shedeur's really getting those reps, they must be locking them up tighter than Area 51. The Browns have somehow turned practice into a top-secret stage play. All smoke, mirrors, and mystery. Every whisper out of that facility feels less like football talk and more like the setup for a scandalous Netflix docu-series. Something's off, and everybody in Cleveland can feel it buzzing through the city like static. Because let's be real, if Shedeur's out there working, nobody's seeing it. The rumor mill's going crazy, and the streets are saying what the press won't. Shedeur Sanders isn't getting a fair shot. While other rookie quarterbacks around the league are getting real live-action reps, Shedeur is standing on the sideline making sure the Gatorade cups are in perfect formation. That's not development. That's disrespect disguised as discipline. It's like the Browns are punishing him for showing up with too much confidence, and the man who was supposed to finally clear the air, Bill Musgrave, only made it worse. Instead of explaining things straight, he delivered the most confusing word salad anyone's ever heard in a press huddle. He smiled, nodded, and acted like everything was fine, while fans across Cleveland were yelling at their screens, "What are you even talking about?" If that's what brutal honesty looks like, then I must be a billionaire living in Malibu. And just when you think he's about to wrap up, Musgrave drops this line with a straight face. Shedeur's 2 plays away from seeing the field. 2 plays away? Please. That's like saying you're 2 scratch-offs away from buying a private jet. Sure, it could happen, but let's be real. That's fantasy talk. The crowd of reporters froze, players kept their heads down, and somewhere in the back you could almost hear the Browns' PR team sighing in defeat. Because when a coach starts mixing riddles with football talk, it usually means one thing. Something inside that locker room isn't adding up, and if Shedeur really is just 2 plays away, then Cleveland better hope those 2 plays don't come too late. Because in Cleveland, 2 plays away doesn't mean opportunity. It means disaster. 2 starters have to collapse, a doctor's got to pull off a miracle, and divine intervention better be on standby before Shedeur even sniffs a real snap. It's the NFL's twisted version of a fairy tale, except this one doesn't come with a happy ending. Now imagine it from Shedeur's point of view. You're the son of Shedeur Sanders, raised under the brightest spotlight in sports, bred for greatness since day one. Cameras chase your every move, your name trends before you even speak, and then suddenly, you're on scout team duty, pretending to be Joe Burrow one week, Lamar Jackson the next, running fake plays while the real action's happening without you. That's not development. That's disrespect in uniform. It's beyond humbling. It's straight up humiliating. You're mimicking Lamar's style, copying his footwork, running his plays, but getting none of Lamar's glory, none of his touchdowns, and definitely none of his paycheck. At this point, the Browns might as well enroll Shedeur in acting school because they've turned him into a background extra in the movie of his own career. And just when you think the awkwardness hit its peak, Coach Musgrave grabs the mic again and doubles down. He starts preaching about how drill work is crucial and studying is creative, like standing on a carpet pretending to call plays as some kind of sacred ritual that leads straight to the Hall of Fame. Come on, man. That's like telling a kid who's shooting free throws in his driveway, congrats, you're practically in the NBA.
Quarterback development, because Kevin even said like development doesn't stop even though you might not be the starter. What does the development look like during the week in the building? Where again you said like you talked about stuff that's going before and after practice on the field, but like during the week, how are you ensuring that like these guys are still learning the playbook, they're really immersing themselves in understanding, and still progressing when maybe you don't get the on-field kind of validation?
Yeah, there's challenges there because you're not getting the time on task and getting the actual reps. So the drill work is crucial. The studying, I call them simulations, where we do almost stand-up meetings or walkthroughs, both in the meeting room and perhaps out on the grass or even in on the carpet where we have more space. So there's ways that we are trying to be creative, and it happens with each quarterback room in the whole league at all levels.
The way Musgrave said it, you'd think Shedeur's biggest accomplishment this week was not tripping over a tackling dummy. It was brutal, all right, but not brutal honesty. More like brutal comedy, because the more Musgrave talked, the more the whole thing sounded like a bad script from Hard Knocks, the Twilight Zone edition. And here's the wildest part. He actually tried to romanticize it. Musgrave stood there describing scout team duty like it was some kind of art form, a noble craft where every fake snap builds character and every pretend read makes you wiser. He was selling it like performance art, not football. The players in the locker room weren't buying it. You could see it in their faces, because deep down everyone knew what was really going on. Shedeur wasn't being developed. He was being delayed, and in Cleveland, delayed too long, and the dream turns cold fast. Meanwhile, Cleveland fans are sitting in front of their screens like, what did we just watch? They went from expecting a first-round fairy tale, hype, legacy, Deion's DNA, the whole package, to watching it unravel into a bad sitcom called Quarterback Purgatory. The city that once dreamed of glory is now stuck watching reruns of confusion. The supposed story is that Shedeur is learning, but what he's really learning is how it feels to be trapped in quarterback limbo, that gray area where you're too talented to sit and somehow still too benched to matter. And then comes Coach Musgrave, bless his heart, diving into this weird speech about immersion in the game plan, like Shedeur's been plugged into the Matrix. Except no, Coach. Shedeur's not Neo. He's a frustrated rookie watching the simulation glitch, wondering how he went from the Sanders legacy to Cleveland's Lamar Jackson impersonator in just a few months. The way Musgrave said it, you'd think Shedeur should be grateful. Like, congrats, kid. You're not the starter, not the backup, not even the emergency option. You are the emergency plan. Imagine being told your big developmental opportunity is running fake plays and hoping someone gets hurt just so you can exist. And that's where it stings. Because while other young QBs around the league are getting reps, mistakes, and real growth, Shedeur is stuck perfecting the art of throwing warm-up spirals between water breaks. It's almost comedic at this point. The Browns might as well give him a clipboard and a whistle so he can cosplay as the assistant quarterback coach. At least then he'd finally get credit for what he's actually doing. teaching patience by example. After all the spin and all the corporate-sounding development talk, Musgrave delivers his grand conclusion: everything's fine. Everyone's getting scout team reps. Oh, really? Because that fine sounds exactly like the kind of fine people say when their house is on fire and they're holding a garden hose yelling, "It's under control." Inside that locker room, the truth hits different. Word is, Shedeur's reps are about as rare as a Cleveland playoff win. And that's saying a lot. Every time he doesn't get a snap, it becomes news. Every time he throws a practice ball, it becomes drama. And when he does nothing at all, that somehow becomes controversy. That's the Browns in a nutshell. A franchise that can take basic football operations and turn them into headline conspiracies overnight. It's like they can't go 1 week without spinning a new saga out of thin air. Fans wanted development. They got deception. They wanted leadership. They got riddles. And every time Musgrave opens his mouth, the storyline gets murkier. It's almost like Cleveland's running 2 games at once. One on the field and one in the press room. And at this rate, the only person mastering the playbook might be the PR team, because they've turned confusion into a sport of its own. And Musgrave's long-winded "everything's fine" routine, yeah, that didn't calm anyone down. It made things worse. That press conference didn't feel like a football update. It felt like a therapy session for a man trying to convince himself that the house isn't burning down behind him. Reporters were firing off questions about reps, interceptions, and chemistry. All the things fans actually care about, and Musgrave started answering like he was giving a TED Talk on emotional balance in quarterbacks. The man was talking about growth, synergy, and mindset, while everyone just wanted to know, is Shedeur playing or not? You could practically see the thought bubble floating above his head. Please stop asking me about Shedeur. I beg you. Every time someone said his name, Musgrave's smile got tighter, like he was trying not to explode. He was dodging questions like a politician caught in a live scandal, tossing out generic answers and hoping nobody noticed. If you listened close, you could hear him pivot, hard, to Joe Flacco at least 3 times, probably just to change the subject before he accidentally told the truth. That's how you know things are bad. When a coach starts talking about a 39-year-old backup like he's the future, it's not confidence, it's panic with a press badge. The tension in that quarterback room is real. Thick enough to cut with a playbook. It doesn't look like a team right now. It looks like a dysfunctional family dinner gone wrong. Joe Flacco's sitting there with that calm dad energy, trying to keep the peace before someone flips the table. Dylan Gabriel's the overachieving middle child, always loud, always trying to prove he deserves a shot. And then there's Shedeur, the youngest, sitting in silence. You can feel the frustration in his body language. He's watching everyone else drive while he's still being told to hold the keys. The crazy part? He's been showing up early, studying film, doing the work, and somehow, he's still being treated like a guest in his own locker room. Musgrave keeps insisting, it's healthy competition. But come on, if this is healthy, then Cleveland's version of toxic must come with smoke alarms and a fire truck parked outside. You don't need a team psychologist to see what's happening here. The pressure's building, and somebody's about to blow. Picture this, Browns defense out there in practice, hyped up like they just chugged 10 energy drinks, flying around, hitting everything that moves, trying to prove something. It's intensity on the field, but in reality, it looks like a comedy skit. A team so tense they're mistaking chaos for chemistry. And the irony hits hard, like a linebacker blindsiding you from the blind side. Because while everyone's pretending this is normal development, it feels more like a slow-motion implosion. The Browns wanted competition, but what they got instead is confusion, and it's spreading fast. Musgrave keeps swearing that scout team duty is valuable, calling it a key part of development. Yeah, okay, and I'm the next MVP of the league. Let's be real. Across the NFL, no quarterback with real ambition wants to spend their rookie season pretending to be another team's offense. It's busy work dressed up as discipline. It's like copying someone else's homework and calling it studying. You're moving, but you're not actually learning. For Shedeur, this isn't growth. It's punishment with a fake smile slapped on it. You don't need to be a football analyst to see what's happening here. It's so obvious it might as well come with a label that says, time waste included. Yet somehow Musgrave keeps recycling the same fantasy every week. Everyone's developing, everyone's improving, he says, as if repeating it enough times will make it true.
And I happen to love that, because for everyone out there that was yelling and screaming about how the Browns were disrespecting Shedeur and the NFL disrespected Shedeur, if a dude can play, you find a way to play him, period, stop. So the fact that he started the season off as the 3rd quarterback, and now we're finding out he's 4th behind Bailey Zappi.
And of course, there's that infamous line, he's 2 plays away from seeing the field. Oh yeah? In Cleveland language, that probably means you'll play when Lake Erie freezes over into a giant margarita. The fans know it, the reporters know it, and most importantly, Shedeur knows it too. You can see it in his eyes on the sideline, that mix of patience, pride, and low-key disbelief that this is really happening. And that's exactly why the rumors just won't die. There's no world where a guy with that much talent, that much pedigree, and that much spotlight is happy playing NFL's top impersonator. He's out there pretending to be Joe Burrow while the rest of the league's actually living their dreams. It's absurd, and the fans have had enough. Right now, Browns Twitter looks like a digital war zone. Memes flying left and right, threads filled with panic, rage, and wild theories. 1 second, someone's posting stats. The next, they're dropping screenshots and hashtags like it's an investigation. The timeline's split between those defending the development plan and those saying it's all smoke and mirrors. And speaking of conspiracies, oh, there's a big one catching fire online. A loud corner of the internet is convinced this entire situation is part of a master plan by Shedeur Sanders himself. They swear he's playing 4D chess, setting the board so his son gets traded to a real contender, a team that'll actually let him shine. And honestly, that might be the most believable theory out there. Because if you've watched how the Browns handle quarterbacks, it's a tragedy on repeat. They treat quarterbacks like disposable razors. Once one gets dull, they toss him out and grab another from the shelf. It's been the same sad cycle for years. Hype, heartbreak, rebuild, repeat.
That is so true what you said. Neither of these guys have ever not been the guy. And that happens a lot with guys who enter the NFL. They've been the starters their whole lives. And so there's a transition there. And for the first week, they did a nice job. They immersed themselves, both of them, in the game plan. Did a lot of drill work on the side, both before and after practice. And then they get some scout team reps so they can get some balls airborne and make sure that they're staying in sync, of course, because really Dylan being 1 play away and Shedeur being 2 plays away.
So when people say maybe Coach Prime is moving behind the scenes, pulling strings to get Shedeur somewhere else, it doesn't sound far-fetched anymore. Because Cleveland doesn't just mishandle quarterbacks. They collect them, chew them up, and act confused when the next one burns out. And deep down, fans can feel it. This story's heading somewhere explosive, and it's only a matter of time before the next spark hits the field. Cleveland doesn't develop quarterbacks. They recycle them. And somehow, they've managed to turn one of football's most hyped young prospects into nothing more than a glorified scout team decoy. That's the real punchline. Use them once, toss them out, then act shocked when they keep cutting themselves trying to climb back up. That's the Cleveland way. So when the Browns front office insists they're handling Shedeur's development perfectly, all you can do is laugh and say, yeah, sure thing, pull the other one. Because right now, his rookie season doesn't look like a learning curve. It looks like a hostage situation with cleats. He's doing everything right, showing up early, staying late, studying film like it's gospel, memorizing the playbook like scripture, and what's his reward? A few meaningless scout team tosses and a pity pat on the helmet from Musgrave like, good job, kid. Now go pretend to be Lamar again. That's not progress. That's punishment with a participation ribbon. If this is what the Browns call growth, then sitting on a park bench must count as Olympic training. And what makes it worse is that Musgrave knows exactly how to dress it up. He drops buzzwords like immersion, simulation, and art form, like Shedeur's enrolled in some elite quarterback academy run by Picasso, but everyone watching knows better. Behind all that fancy coach talk lies a much uglier truth. The smiles look forced, the posture looks tight. Every time the coaches talk about Shedeur, there's this tiny hesitation, a flicker of discomfort that gives it all away. That's not confidence, that's cover-up. You can feel it around the facility. That quiet tension that says, we don't fully trust him yet. And that right there is the problem, because this isn't about reps anymore. It's about trust. The Browns clearly don't trust Shedeur enough to hand him real developmental snaps, but they also don't have the guts to admit it publicly. So instead, they hide behind smooth talk and media polish, feeding fans a sanitized press conference full of cliches and hoping nobody notices the contradictions. But here's the thing, everybody noticed. The fans caught it, the reporters caught it, even former players are side-eyeing the situation online. Cleveland's trying to play chess, but their moves are see-through. Now the speculation's spinning out of control. Like wildfire on social media, fans are deep in what-if territory now. What if Shedeur gets tired of this circus and demands a trade? What if Deion's already working behind the scenes to make it happen? The whispers are getting louder, and they're not going away anytime soon. Because when a city's starving for a savior and the front office keeps serving excuses, that's when chaos starts to cook. And right now, Cleveland looks one bad press conference away from a full-blown quarterback rebellion. What if this whole scout team saga isn't just random? What if it's step one in some secret master plan? Because honestly, at this point, every fan theory sounds more believable than Cleveland's official story. The Browns version is just too neat, too safe, too Cleveland. Nothing about this situation feels organic, and the truth, whatever it is, definitely isn't the one they're selling. If Musgrave's honesty was a storm, then the Browns' PR team has been out there in flip-flops, trying to sweep ocean water off the Titanic's deck with a broom. Their spin game has been painful to watch. Every time they speak, it's the same recycled buzzwords on loop. Development, growth, patience. They're pressing those talking points like broken record buttons, hoping repetition can drown out reality. Meanwhile, the rest of the football world is watching Shedeur Sanders torch scout team drills like a man who bought VIP tickets and somehow ended up in the nosebleeds. It's pure insanity. The guy's clearly outplaying expectations, but instead of celebrating him, the Browns are acting like it's a crime to shine too bright in practice. It's like paying for front row seats at a Beyoncé concert and being told to sit in the parking lot because your energy's too high. Cleveland's logic makes no sense. Apparently, torching the first-string defense in practice somehow makes you less qualified to play in real games. If Shedeur were out there throwing ducks straight into linebackers' hands, maybe then they'd finally hand him the starting job. The Browns' logic doesn't just defy reason, it defies gravity. These people could win gold medals in mental gymnastics. Honestly, Simone Biles herself would be impressed by how flexible their excuses are. At this point, the whole setup feels like a bad joke that got way too real. Shedeur's running plays that don't even belong to him in an offense that doesn't reflect his style, yet somehow, he still stands out every single time. That's not luck. That's raw skill being buried under bureaucracy. It's like asking a Ferrari to plow through a muddy cornfield and then acting shocked when it still glides smoother than the tractor. The talent's too obvious to hide. And that's exactly what's making people nervous inside that building. Every rep, every throw, every perfect read is a reminder that Cleveland might be sitting on something they don't know how to handle. And Musgrave, bless his eerily calm soul, practically admitted it without even realizing. He didn't sugarcoat it, didn't hand the kid a participation ribbon or fake praise. His tone said everything. He knows Shedeur is outgrowing this role. That's what's got fans fired up. Because when a coach can't hide respect behind his poker face, the truth leaks through. And right now, it's leaking all over Cleveland. The Browns can try to patch it with buzzwords and excuses, but the storm's already inside the building, and it's got Shedeur Sanders' name written all over it. Musgrave laid it all out. Calm, straight-faced, like he was reading a weather report while a tornado was ripping the roof clean off. And that's when it clicked for everyone watching. The confusion in Cleveland isn't an accident. It's the brand. Overthinking is the playbook, and bizarre quarterback decisions, that's the franchise tradition. Fans have been joking for years that the Browns front office must have a dartboard labeled quarterback plan. Every offseason, they just close their eyes, throw a dart, and whatever it hits becomes the new strategy. And honestly, it's starting to sound less like a joke and more like a documentary. You'd almost think the real strategy is chaos by design, to keep everything so murky, so tangled, so unpredictable that nobody can ever prove they failed. Because how can you fail when nobody even knows what the plan was in the first place? That's not incompetence. That's calculated confusion. Genius in a twisted kind of way. Maybe even evil genius. And here's where it gets wild. The whispers have already started echoing across the league. Coaches, scouts, and execs from other teams are watching Shedeur Sanders do the impossible, lighting up scout team drills that were never meant to make him look good. These are setups designed for him to mimic someone else's system, to run someone else's style, and he's still out there, making it look easy. And now, everyone's asking the same dangerous question. If he's this sharp running someone else's offense, what happens when he finally gets to run his own? That question is Cleveland's worst nightmare. Because the second that idea spreads, the sharks start circling, fast. Other teams start seeing opportunity. They see a young quarterback with elite vision, calm under pressure, and a name that already sells jerseys, stuck in a system that refuses to let him breathe. That's when the trade talk starts. That's when the league starts sniffing around, asking quiet questions, making quiet calls, because they know something Cleveland doesn't seem to. You can't cage star power forever. If the Browns don't act soon, they won't just lose control of the narrative, they'll lose the quarterback who could have rewritten it. And when that happens, the chaos they've been trying to control might finally turn on them, because confusion might be Cleveland's brand. But in the NFL, confusion never wins championships. It only creates opportunities for everyone else. Make no mistake, rival GMs are already sniffing around, watching Cleveland fumble this situation and thinking, hey, maybe we should make a call. You can almost hear the phones buzzing across the league. Because when one team's confusion turns into another team's opportunity, that's when the Sharks start moving in. And what will Cleveland do when that happens? Probably what they always do. freeze up, hesitate, and panic at the worst possible moment. Then, right on cue, they'll pull off their signature move, trade the wrong quarterback, just to keep the chaos consistent. It's the Browns way, the art of self-sabotage disguised as strategy. You can feel the tension building like static in the air. The whole organization sitting on a ticking time bomb made of bad decisions, awkward silences, and unspoken resentment. Every interview sounds rehearsed, every update feels like damage control, and every practice clip gets dissected like it's the Zapruder film. What started as a simple scout team setup, just a harmless development phase, might actually be the fuse to something explosive. Because when that fuse burns out, it won't just blow up the QB room. It'll shake the entire NFL. Teams are watching. Fans are restless. And Shedeur, he's standing right in the middle of it all, calm, collected, and ready to prove the world wrong. So buckle up, because if Cleveland doesn't act fast, they're about to watch this story detonate right in their faces. The NFL's most unpredictable franchise might be seconds away from turning a quarterback controversy into a full-blown league earthquake. And when this storm finally hits its breaking point, Cleveland won't be able to hide behind press quotes or development plans anymore. The truth is already spilling out. The Browns didn't just mishandle a rookie. They might have lit the fuse on the next NFL explosion. What started as harmless scout team drills has turned into the biggest quarterback mystery in the league. They thought they could control the story, but you can't control energy like Shedeur Sanders. The kid's got too much poise, too much bloodline, and too much spotlight to stay buried. Every practice clip, every leaked quote, every sideline stare, it's all adding pressure to a franchise already known for cracking under it. Because now, the entire NFL is watching. GMs are circling, analysts are whispering, and players across the league are asking the same question: how long can Cleveland keep this man on the sideline before he takes over? The answer? Not long. Because stars like this don't wait for permission. They force their moment. The Browns can throw out all the buzzwords they want: patience, process, preparation. But the reality is simple. The more they delay Shedeur, the louder his legend grows. And when he finally steps onto that field, it won't just be a debut, it'll be a reckoning. The moment the city realizes what they've been holding back this whole time. This isn't just about one player anymore. It's about an entire franchise standing at the edge of another historic decision. Either they wake up and unleash the future, or they get left in it. Because in Cleveland, chaos might be the tradition, but Shedeur Sanders, he might just be the revolution. Stay locked in with Huddle Files, where the stories behind the stats hit harder, the breakdowns cut deeper, and the truth always comes with a highlight reel.